Hello, everybody. How's it going? My name is Dory K. Joining me today is Goferino. Regularly scheduled match. A little bit late. My bad for that. How's it going, Go?
Fine. I was a little confused too, wondering where team was. Turns out we had the wrong tournament code. So here we are, though, into game number 1 of the night, and we are going through picks and bans. So far, the Seraphine and Elise taken off the board. Definitely target bans of both these teams.
Yeah, Seraphine kind of, at least performing at the lower levels pretty consistently, must be pretty reliable for these guys as well. And Elise, the amount of early pressure that that champion can put onto teams is absolutely insane. And these teams seem to already have a pretty well thought out plan with the Wei ban coming from the blue side, not being prioritized as a B1.
We'll see what the priority is here. Senna is available. That has been the big prio. Rek'Sai too, in the top lane, has been pretty hard to deal with for a lot of top laners just because the passive sustain is just so good. We'll see what the answer is here for Dorado, because usually you don't blind pick a top laner unless you're really confident in the pick or the pick is very overtuned. And Rek'Sai top definitely pretty strong right now.
Yeah, definitely. I've been seeing a little bit of it coming up in pro play. What's your opinion on it? Do you think it's like specifically matchup dependent, or do you think it's completely blindable in its current state?
I honestly haven't seen enough of it, funnily enough.
Yeah.
Because they
that's fair,
saw it in
that's
like
fair.
that one G2 series last week. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I guess that's a cool tech. Wait, Rek'Sai top. And then apparently it's a thing, and they're having to gut it next patch with fewer generation on minions and some of the passes sustain. So I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe it has maybe it's pretty damn strong. But
Might be overtuned.
Wukong and Kaisa locked in here,
Mhm.
definitely signaling that Dorado Gaming wants to go for a very unga bunga composition.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And honestly, like at least from a jungle perspective, Wukong is typically gonna give Rek'Sai a hard time. The champion kind of shuts down a lot of what Rek'Sai wants to do, but actually seeing it complemented by a Kog'Maw Rom, I like this lane. I know people like to go for enchanters usually with Kog'Maw, go for like that hyper carry fantasy, but I think Braum, coupled with Kog'Maw's W, makes it really, really easy to proc that chilling stacks.
Yeah, you will be able to just mow through those stacks and get the concussive blows. And it's pretty decent protection for the Kog'Maw still. You're not buffing up the Kog'Maw like you mentioned with an Enchanter. There's usually what people think, but honestly, if you get enough attack speed and Bork plus popping your W as this Kog'Maw, like you can shred through most things. And Dorado Gaming Beta, they don't exactly have like the super tank here. Their front line right now is the Aatrox plus Wukong. You know, definitely not like the squishiest champions, but they're not the Omega tanks that are going to be building the Thornmail plus Frozen Heart to shut down this Kog'Maw.
Yeah, and a lot of their items. Correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of the items Wukong and Aatrox like to build are health stacking items, so it kind of benefits that Bork build style that Kog'Maw would go. And then having the front line from Crab's Radiant that they're trying to establish here with Rek'Sai going the tankier build now makes it so Kai'Sa's kind of forced into going the more on-hit style Kai'Sa build, maybe crit, but I don't foresee an AP coming an AP Kai'Sa coming out of here unless you like itemize heavily into attack speed at the same time. It kind of splits your utility.
Yeah, that or if you have a very consistent source of damage in the mid lane, like a Cassiopeia or a Azir, and then you can play the more like pokey Kai'Sa with the AP build that I know has been getting popular. But yeah, right now with the champions we see probably leaning towards the more on-hit variant with actually on-hit variant's been going a couple of different builds. I've seen like Kraken Slayer Rush, I've seen the Static Shiv Rush, and then it can go into like lethality or just more attack speed. I don't know. Kai'Sa builds are a little all over except for the AP build, which is pretty consistent in what happens. So yeah, we'll see what Dorado Gaming Beta goes for here. I'm guessing they're going to get a support here, so they have R5 in the mid lane, unless they are worried about the mid lane pool already being pinched decently enough, and then them not getting a prio pick day one.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I like the adaptation and draft that Dorado Gaming Beta is making. Getting rid of Ivern, getting rid of like support and walling off options like Jarvan. You would think in this situation you don't want to be trapped in here with us. You want to be trapped in here with me with Wukong and Aatrox, but that Cataclysm can be a good like denial. Are we seeing Heimerdinger hovers for fun? There's a lot
I
of
think it's more fun, yeah. Like Heimerdinger with Kai'Sa doesn't really make a lot of sense because the Kai'Sa kind of really wants someone to help her proc the plasma passive. So Liliana definitely makes a lot more sense. Goes well into the Braum because the Zenith Blade can go past the stand behind me shield. So that's always nice to have, and then you're able to just hop onto the back line onto this Kog'Maw. Crab's Radiance, they are going to have to blind pick their mid lane here. It's looking like it's going to be the Talia. Overall, pretty solid. We have been seeing a bunch of Talia in pro play, you know, just generally good all-around champion. Does have a few weaknesses, like getting ganked early on and can get a little outscaled. I'm going to assume this Vlad hover is just a bit of a meme. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, champions that can match or extend Talia's
Mhm.
champions that can punish her for roaming faster, typically going to be good here. Champions that don't rely on that mobility. That being said, Talia, even though it is blind, I do like where it's being placed in the composition since it does shut down Aatrox, it shuts down Wukong's engage ability, Leona's Zenith Blade, and vitally, Kai'Sa's Killer Instinct. She can't use it as reliably to reposition on top of the stones.
Yeah. Not exactly fun killer instincting over a bunch of those stones from the work. They kind of just boost your health bar. And yeah, I do agree. This Talia gonna do pretty good work here against Dorado giving Beta's main assault. Can get overwhelmed if you get flanked here, and like I mentioned, you are a little vulnerable in lane. If you get hit by one cage and there's a Wukong Cyclone, you're probably having to blow the flash here, so definitely will have to walk on a bit of ice when it comes to laning phase, but when it comes to team fights, yeah, good placed work there. Should be doing some nice work.
Now, which lane do you see having control of the early game here? And what? I guess I'm curious to see like where Vi is going to go and how Wukong's going to choose to path this early game.
I don't know, because Wukong, you do kind of really want to get the Cyclone. Your early gangster, like, if you have red buff, it's like okay-ish. You go in with the Nimbus Strike, you're just slowing them a bunch, you're able to get a bunch of damage, and you do have some decent setup in these lanes. So, could see a little bit of action there. Definitely going to see some action here from the Vi, of course, because the Vault Breaker just way too good at locking down people. You just charge that up, great bop up, and you have some good follow-up yourself here. So definitely leaning a little bit towards this Vi in the jungle, making things happen. Other than that, I'm expecting a lot of scuffling in the top lane. But I need to see how the Rek'Sai versus Aatrox matchup works here, because like I mentioned, I haven't really seen too much of the Rek'Sai top in play. Oh? Oh, we good?
All right. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. I figure there's a bit of mic issues here. But yeah. Getting into it, looking at where everything's being locked in the draft, it's literally what you expect.
Trying to fix my headset over here.
Oh. Okay, I figured there's something wrong. But yeah. Looking a little bit towards the top side of the map here for action. Definitely could see some bot lane here with these two supports, mainly the Leona for Dorado Gaming, since you are just going to be able to lock down this Kog'Maw for so long and let your Kai'Sa be able to fully stack the Plasma passive and pop that Void Puppy
Yep, there we
thing.
go.
Alrighty, we're Barack.
My apologies. I got a new headset today and I did not check the battery life on it.
So we're don't wear a headset and you don't have to worry about this.
Whatever Go just said, I completely wholeheartedly agree.
Cool.
Unless they were making fun of me, in which case I don't.
No.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. Where were you? What are we talking about?
Yeah, I was mostly saying probably going to see a good amount of action in the early game in the top side here. Could see a little bit in the bot lane, but other than that, I'm definitely leaning towards the top side for early game action, pre-6.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the protection that the Kog'Maw Braum lane gets from the early ability to rotate from Talia and the strong pairing she has with Vi makes it really difficult to create ganks and create opportunities bot lane for Kai'Sa and Leona, despite that lane having a lot of potential power. So I kind of agree with you. I now that I'm rethinking it and after hearing what you had to say, I think that the level 6 makes a lot of sense as like this gating point for Dorado's comp. Whereas the crabs do have a little bit more activity potential, and I think that I agree. I think Rek'Sai has a lot of potential, and those health stacking like sustain tank style lanes tend to snowball very hard on each other when they're facing each other in an equal matchup.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how that pans out here. We do have the spectator delay to go through, so we'll take a quick break here while we load into game 1. So don't go anywhere, gamers in the chat. We will be back with game number 1 of this series for week 5 of the Blue Water Masters League in just a bit, hopefully.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are at the 5-Point Simulator. Say hello to Vigar and his beautiful dance. Say hello to Aatrox, just handing off this dance here. I love that Rek'Sai dance so very much. And we are off to the races. It's going to be a banger, isn't it, Go?
Should be, yeah. Definitely Dorado gaming favorite here. Just based off their results in Risen Mythic this season. So we'll see if that continues here. But right now, very even playing field. Could have seen a little bit of action here, considering there is, of course, a Leona and Braum. Definitely great for getting some early kills level 1, but standard 5 gamer fan coming on out. Could maybe see a little late invade coming here from this Dorado gaming bot side, and that does seem to be the play. No leashes coming out for Drex as this Vi as well, so... Ooh, they're not... Oh,
This
no,
is gonna
no,
be a
no.
late invade. In they come. Drex gonna eat the hook, gonna get the ignite down, and the first blood gonna go over to the Wukong. Great late invade for Dorado Gaming. That's exactly what they're gonna need to keep Vi on the back foot.
Ooh, yeah, that is very juicy. Because nowadays you don't, in pre-made and 5v5, you don't really see as much leashing coming out. The laners very heavily prioritizing just being able to get level 2 first, being able to get bio in lanes. And that's why we saw Palm go to an Alchemist in the bot lane. It's like, yeah, you typically want to hit level 2 before the Leona lane, because Leona level 2, very strong. That does mean leashless Vi, very vulnerable, and Direco's able to grab 2 camps on that bot side. We'll see if there's a 3 buff coming out. Right now they're pathing towards top side.
And you do see just a little bit of vision going off. At this point, they've gotten off what they need to do, and they want to establish that they're going for that red buff maybe. Try to prevent Vi from going for like a counter and go for a vertical here, which is an interesting path. It's like the longest distance, but I think it's totally fine. And at this point, it probably benefits Wukong since he gets like more or less a 3-quadrant early clear.
Yeah, I like doing that if I steal the enemy buff in first clear as jungle, because it's like, I just want to win the psychological war. Technically, like you said, it is the longest path. It does slow down your clear a bit relatively, but denying the enemy jungler is a great way for just kind of tilting them and also just setting them a nice early play.
Yeah, definitely. And we actually see Eddie Boy going for a little bit of engage, but in the mid lane at the same time, we have the gank coming off, and Frosthook going to just snag up that cheeky little level 2 roam. No attack even committing to that as well. We'll see if the lane comes and crashes down here, but it looks like they might not even miss any XP. At least the Kai'Sa won't, unless they're cut off.
No. Alrighty. A lot of action in the top lane too. Back to bot lane.
Yeah, we've got things going off, but the concussive blows going down here, and Alchemist going to be able to walk Frosthook under the tower, but they do have dive potential. They're thinking about setting this up. The wave does have potential to crash as some poke is going to go off, and Drex is hovering. Wukong, you can see coming in. Durakos in the back, almost approaching the Gromp here. If they're going to get this dive off, they need to get it off now. Frosthook going to eat
2 minions.
2 minions. Who's going to take the aggro? Alchemist is not. Drex is on the back. Cleanse having to come down from Pomgo. Pomgo is going to be able to secure the kill, but the counter is coming down. Here comes Blue Shell. Going to drop down the baby cage, and it's going to catch Braum. Braum being forced to flash out is just going to die as Durakos gets flash off. Red buff auto attacks might slow down Pomgo enough, though. Can he finish off the kill? He cannot. And a great counterplay coming down from Dorado. That's going to be 3 for 1 in the early game and a 1,000 gold lead to Dog.
Yeah. Never mind, we're gonna see no solo kill top. Yeah, toast. Yeah. And that bot lane play from Krabs Radiant, they just took way, way too long to commit to that dive there, because they had to push in the wave. There's only 2 minions left. Yes, there was some low health bars, but like, you don't have the minions to tank it for you. They saw it coming from a mile away, and you just get collapsed on. Very lucky that it was a 1 for 1 in the end, and you do have to blow a lot of sums there.
And here we go with a reset to everybody. Vi immediately going to go for this top side and try to make the first set of grubs go down. I'm not sure if they actually saw Wukong, but it is going to end up being a safe play here. Getting those early 3 grubs is going to be valuable, and we're going to know the timer. Drake is up as well, and we do have priority for Dog and resets on Leona going for it up top. But she might be late here if she's headed that way.
Ooh. Leaving one grub up, it looks like. Okay, yeah, Drex unable to finish off the last one, wants to grab the scuttle, so grabbing 2 grubs for yourself here and just walking off. It denies the 5 to 6 stack here for Dorado Gaming, so you're fine with that. You still get a little bit of true damage there. Doricos was not going for the dragon because, like you said, there wasn't any option on the grubs. So not trying to contest that, not trying to get the cross-path trade because it looked like no. Although, definitely had a bit of an idea considering Doricos was taking the Raptors away.
Yeah, and that burrow underground, just like you said with Rek'Sai, having such powerful sustain, and being able to stack rage by just taking trades inside the wave like that definitely benefits Rek'Sai. So Rek'Sai holding their own up in this top lane is a little bit down in CS, so Alaskan Kodiak looking a lot more comfortable here as they take the trade.
Yeah, top lane. Not gonna lie, I thought there'd be more action, and Alaskan Kodiak didn't nearly have a solo kill earlier on, but right now, it's definitely calmed down. I mean, there's still very heavy trading. Eddie Boy actually take a fatty one there right after I say.
Yeah, and Eddie
calmed down a little.
Yeah, and Eddie Boy not really able to trade here on top of what is like a wave and a half worth of caster minions alone here. But same deal. Take a look at actually what's happening in this jungle matchup.
Yeah.
Oh no. Speaking of the jungle matchup, here comes an invade. Doracos trying to get the fight down onto Drex. Drex understands that he's down a level. 2 of his lanes are pushed in, and this is a really risky. Bot lane does get the first rotate, like you said, but it does look like Doracos is going to try to take the fight. The red buff does go down, so objective failed successfully. In comes the Weaver's Wall in the background, but that's not going to matter. Alchemist is going to go down, and honestly, Trinity is just locking the rest of their team in with them. Dog, again, getting first rotation, playing around that priority, getting themselves another kill in the bot side jungle.
And it's kind of crazy too, because it's like Palm Goat and Alchemist were the first ones rotating, but the more gamers from Dorado just coming on down first there, and 2-0-1 here for this Wukong jungle. Doracos, it's a good shove here. Could be a kill.
That actually is starting to look like most of a solo kill. It should come down unless Trinity just misses. Blue Shell with the dodge, able to just barely survive. Trinity trying to keep their team in the game. Looking pretty good here.
That was so close too. The last bit of Trinity's mana does have flash as well, so would have maybe repositioned one of the last little rocks there.
And as the fight comes down, Rek'Sai able to get just that little bit of movement speed out of burrowing. Or not movement speed, but being able to just like burrow out of the way, barely avoid getting leashed into that W from Alaskan Kodiak. And it looks like they are so close to landing a kill at any moment on this top side. It's just...
Yeah, I mean, to Crab's credit, they haven't let the gold lead like go out too much further here. Because last we checked, about 1,000 separating these two teams about 2 minutes later. And it's grown 500 gold. Not the worst. You're also down with the dragon. Things could be worse here. They try to get on the board some more.
We do actually have a fight going on in the mid lane, though. Looks like a gank coming out. Blue Shell going to be forced to go down here as Mr. Drex just helps finish it off. Trinity going to eat up that kill, get that prio, get that reset. And as the top side, we have another fight breaking out here. Alaskan Kodiak, Pock, World Ender. Eddie Boy going to be forced to run away, and he's not quite going to secure the kill. Eddie Boy channeling their base here. Alaskan Kodiak not going to be able to respond to this invade, though, in the top side. Doracos getting that Cyclone off, but he's probably not going to survive. The flash comes down. Mr. Drex gets the flash, and Trinity gets another shutdown. And they said, no, we're going to reduce that gold lead to 400 to 500 gold instead of the ballooning over 1K. And this game's looking pretty even as the fight comes down. Leona comes out. Down goes the Killer Instinct. No attack is going to secure the kill, but is Braum going to get one back in return? No attack being forced to flash, but doesn't matter. The flash. Just no attack says no, utilizing that passive like a true pro. Trinity at the same time, action going on everywhere. Drex forced over the wall, forced to wait on that Vault Breaker to get back over. Alaskan Kodiak, though, has control of this section here. Blue Shell looking for the cooldown on the baby cage here. It's coming up in about 3 seconds. Going to be able to protect this entrance, and it looks like Doracos is going to be able to secure
this. Don't go for the cloak.
No, no, no. We're
Oh,
gonna
blue
say
shell.
three grubs to 3 grubs. Blue shell being caught out of position though, or is he? Duraco's coming for the end. Comes the very long ultimate that I can't pronounce right now. Blue shell helping Durakos get yet another kill, and this jungler is looking absolutely massive right now. Go.
Yeah, Durakos able to be up about 20 CS, about 5 camps. Has the lead in objectives because there's the extra clown dragon up on the enemy opposition. And yeah, feeling good. Working towards that Triforce. Drake's able to get that. Cyclone's not up yet.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Drex is going to have to use the Vault Breaker to get away. Duraco's actually blocking it with his W. Weaver's Wall coming down, but it's not going to be quite enough. Ooh, snipe! Snipe from Vigar to finish it off there.
That was like the fattest fadeaway there. Good lord. Blue Shell taking the blast cone on over and then just dropping the Baleful Strike.
Yeah, and the Primordial Burst is looking pretty fat. He can actually do a huge chunk of damage, already sitting on over 100 stacks for Blue Shell. Actually also sitting, I just didn't even really talk about it much, but he did go for the Unsealed Spellbook this game, so actually sitting on Ignite now. If the Vigar positions well without the flash and has the kill threat, like one really bad baby cage for Trinity could spell doom right now when paired up with the Wukong.
Yeah, kind of interesting. We don't really see the Unsealed Spellbook anymore. You see it sometimes in ranged top versus melee matchups, or melee tank matchups in the top lane. Okay, you're probably not going to proc the aggressively Undying, so just take the Spellbook for the value here.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Solar Flare, going to be a Solar Miss.
Yeah, not a whole lot coming out of it. Now, as we transition into this Drake in 30 seconds, which team do you think has the advantage right now, given the state of the lands?
Looking at just the items here, it should be Dorado Gaming, because right now you got Triforce, 1 stack on the Roa, and Kraken Slayer completed here, versus just the Sundered Divine here from Mr. Drex. So definitely in terms of just pure items, going in the favor of Dorado Gaming.
Right, that is a pure amount of, that is a lot of gold difference coming out from the jungle matchup alone. Luckily for Drex, neither team has completed the smite item, but at this point it looks like it might not matter as the Cyclone comes in. Just forcing them into the fight here, but Duraco's actually going to take a bunch of damage. Mr. Drex manages to kill off, and Palm Goat's in a position where he can free fire. Blue Shell being forced to walk away, but Drex going to focus him down. Alchemist dying in the background though. The Alchemist is actually going to survive, manages to get the flash off, get the W off, and Frosthook being zoned out. Frosthook going to eat the ground, and that's actually a turnaround for the Crabs. This has just become a game completely flipped on its head. Both teams completely even in gold. Both teams 1-1 on dragons. Both teams on 3 grubs. Resets are in favor of blue, and the only thing we've got going for us right now is momentum. Blue side does have priority in 2 lanes now, as well as the jungle getting a little bit of life breathed back into it. Eddie Boy being forced in, but they are getting trades back and forth top, and there is no clear decisive winner. Actually, no, I lied. There's a 20 CS difference. It's still an Aatrox's favored matchup right now.
Yeah. Big thing is now Eddie Boy has the completed Sunfire here. That's just going to give him so much more tankiness to Aatrox in this matchup. That's going to help a lot, especially since Alaskan Kodiak is only sitting on the Tumbler and Tab here.
He's sitting on a lot of gold, isn't he? As we take the trade, he's got almost 2,000 gold in his pocket. Same level right now. Eddie Boy going for the trade, has the Sunfire proc, and is going to get control of this lane. I don't even know why I play-by-play. These guys are just going to have, like, wet noodle fights and not actually secure anything here. As the lane matchup continues to be 0-0-0.
My.
So let's see what happens here as we have the zoom in. Drex, let's see if we can toggle some vision. Does Drex know what's about to happen? Going for the Vault Breaker. Gets the dodge. Okay.
Barely.
That's some Good reaction time. Good job. Good job.
The collapse is
Alchemist
coming through.
rotating though. What's gonna happen here? Eddie Boy getting the flank. Out comes the Glacial Fissure, and Baby Cage gonna go down to try to waste some time. Draco's gonna be forced down. In comes the Crab Rave. Weaver's Wall off to the side to separate the team of Dorado, and that's gonna be 2 kills in favor of them, and that's gonna be a killing spree for the Kog'Maw. Control of this game is suddenly on the side of the Crabs. Going into mid game, we've got a Kog'Maw looking pretty fed. We've got a Talia looking pretty fed, and we've got a Rift Herald going down. Go.
Yeah, and I'm Dorado Gaming. That was. I like the setup there, just to try and make Drex hate their life a little more, but the collapse from Crabs just comes out so much quicker there. We saw Pongo was already in the fight. Trinity able to pop the Weaver's Wall there and just get on in. Looking like we might see a first turret in the mid lane eventually, because there was no one charging with that Herald.
Yeah, that was not a lot of damage, unfortunately. It is pretty risky, don't you think? As Frosthook actually eats the
AP.
proc. Let's see if Baby Cage can keep them alive. Frosthook trying to keep it going. Does not get the concussive stacks down, and Alchemist going to die in the background. Primordial Burst finishing that one off as Trinity is forced away here. Now we have priority back in favor of Dogs. Second proc of Cyclone going to be popped for giggles. That was just a silly little Cyclone at the end there, getting it on cooldown, getting it reset quick, but down goes the Seismic Shove just to keep Dracos out of the jungle. As first turret goes down here, Alaskan Kodiak being forced away. Eddie Boy's looking really strong here. Drex misses the Vault Breaker over the wall, but is gonna pop the ultimate. Blue Shell is able to re-enter the fight though, as Drex has no damage. Unfortunately for him, Dracos is gonna die because he doesn't have any assistance here. Kog'Maw looking real huge, still has access to the cleanse. The fight going on in the top side at the same time, but it looks like they're just gonna go ahead and clean it up mid lane and walk away with even more kills for this Kog'Maw.
Looking.
Yeah,
It was no longer looking. Yeah, like not having the Cyclone there, not enough burst to get through this Kog'Maw. Dorado Gaming, they've just lost so much momentum in this game. They had such a great start. It was 3-1. 3-buff the enemy jungler. You're up the extra dragon. Feeling nice. It's not a monumentally, but it's a great way to start off the game.
Yeah,
And
that's
now?
a huge lead to throw off.
Yeah. Well, a huge lead in terms of like 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah, like 5,000 gold at like 8-9 minutes was absolutely massive, but unfortunately that pick into the mid game definitely flipped the game on its head and equalizing that jungle matchup. You'd like to see Wukong be a little bit more active as the trade goes on in the top lane again, but not much is going to come of it. But keep in mind, everybody, there are absolutely important things on the line here. Only the top 3 teams from each division make it into playoffs, and both these teams are sitting pretty at 2-2 right now.
Okay, yeah. I remember you said the site hadn't updated.
Yeah, I'm
Both
gonna
these
trust
teams
you
were
two.
1 and
I think
2.
you two told me they were 2-2. The website says 1-2. My understanding is that they're both very close in the standings either way, and with only the top 3 teams making playoffs, this could be a pivotal moment for both of these teams, depending on how this best of 3 goes.
Yeah, it's also a big deal, considering that they had pretty decent momentum and they lost it. It's gonna be a tilter going through the rest of the series. I mean, it's not the biggest tilter because, like we said, even though that was a pretty decent lead for early game, it's not like a catastrophic throw. Because I need a sneeze.
Yeah, bless you. Absolutely. And honestly, you're at a bless you.
Oh, Lord, there we go. Yeah,
There we go.
Casper
Got it all out of our
sneezed a
system.
little.
I guess it beats a caster curse, huh? Twitch chat does have a good point. Vigard does have pretty good scaling. Unfortunately, Kaisa is not currently a champion. Kaisa does have opportunity to be involved, but I don't know how you feel. My concern is definitely the range at which Kaisa can function in this game. It feels like she's not going to be allowed to participate very much in team fights until a lot of cooldowns are blown.
Yeah. You definitely outburst the Kog'Maw as the Kaisa, but the thing is, the Kog'Maw outranges you. Which is much more of a lane issue, like we saw there. Because in team fights, you're probably just killer instincting on into the back line here. But yeah, the fact is, Kog'Maw got out of lane relatively unscathed. Now 5-1 and 3. Pretty nightmarish to deal with. Granted, Kogba, not the Giga late game champion that he used to be. That is like one kind of common misconception that goes around still. Kogba's no longer like the king of late game. He's still pretty good. It's like,
That honestly
it's not like
makes sense,
season
huh?
over.
Yeah, it seems like the ability to stand still no longer has scalability with how much like mobility and catch potential there is in the game. Feels like champions that require standing still to function. It's like if you think like Twitch has the same problem. Like Twitch can't really function standing still, so he can't just like sit in the back and pop his ultimate and just wait.
Yeah, you can still kite with Twitch ultimate.
Yeah, like you can.
The thing with Twitch is like your laning phase is just literal dog.
Yeah, yeah. It's at least Kog'Maw synergizes with like quite a few champions because of the nature of like his kit having so much range on such a short cooldown.
Enemy could be in danger here.
Yeah, Trinity's looking like it. We have the heal coming down from Blue Shell. He's looking for an opportunity to get the damage for that Primordial Burst. Trinity being forced to be on the wrong side of it. And actually, you're going to get the proc here of... Woo! Dodge going to come out there. Glacial Fissure being used to survive. Braum doing everything in his power to protect Mr. President. And get out you will, Trinity. Trinity barely escaping that fight with his life.
Do gotta look on the flip side here, though. Mid lane getting pushed on in. Mid inner won't be threatened just quite yet. Will take just some chip damage from these minions. Thankfully, the rotation comes through in time to defend this turret.
Oh, but we actually have a survival from Blue Shell. These mid laners just are almost surviving. The Cyclone being used in the background to keep them alive, but Vault Breaker being canceled here by Durakos, and that's going to be a dead Vi on the backside as the Baron gets started up on the other side of the map. Is this going to be worth it as the teleport comes down from Trinity? No Weaver's Wall available, so they're going to be able to try to walk in here. It looks like they're going to try to contest. Elastic Kodiak, Blue Shell going for the teleports here, and we actually have Dorado Gaming getting in. Off comes the World Ender off to the side, forcing the crabs out of the way. Baby Cage comes down, Trinity being caught, going to be forced down. Another kill and another reset for the World Ender. Blue Shell, though, venturing a little bit too far. Is Palm Goat going to be able to turn around? Eddie Boy trying to turn it around. No, they're not. They're going to turn on the Baron. We have Eddie Boy here. Eddie Boy trying to get some vision into here, but doesn't have access to the smite. This is a top lane Rek'Sai, everybody. They do not have smite. Palm Goat trying to wait on that W cooldown. Should have it back, so the smite comes down. Eddie Boy going to be caught between a rock and a hard place. Crosshook getting the flash off. Palm Goat trying to go for the flash, but it's not going to be enough. No attack. Getting the killer instinct off the backside. Flashed! Right now, no attack is still alive, and Eddie Boy is off the side. Eddie Boy going to be forced down. They might have overstayed here, but they are going to escape with their lives. And that's going to be yet another turn in favor of one of these teams. We've seen the gold swing multiple times this game, and momentum just shift in a moment's notice.
Yeah, and Crab's Radiant, yes, you have the Kog'Maw to shred through Baron there, but like, you don't have a smite. Like, yes, you saw the enemy jungler on the other side of the map, but your jungler was killed on the other side of the map. Double TPs coming on out here. Or no, Alaskan Kodiak didn't have to TP there, so singular TP coming out. Able to stop that Baron, and then the recontest from Crab's Radiant, that is, I don't know what level of cope that was on. Like, you don't have your jungler, you're already down 2 people, you kind of just have to keep it at that point. I don't...
Yeah, at that point, you just got to kind of lick your wounds and just say, you know what, I'm going to go elsewhere. Unfortunately, just because you're Rek'Sai doesn't mean you're magically going to have Smite as your second spell. And even then, the risk associated with just like going for that 50-50 if you had Smite, like Eddie Boy being forced out here. Baby Cage not quite going to kill him. But Alaskan Kodiak has the flank. Are we going to get yet another skirmish here when they have priority over this Dragon Pit?
Yeah, I mean, if Krebs want to, they can just see this dragon. It's the second dragon for Dorado Gaming. It's 25 minutes in. Oh, Weaver's Wall coming on out. Teleport.
It actually looks like we have Weaver's Wall and Glacial Fissure coming down. Wall going to be dropped immediately as we get the Seismic Shove to kind of zone Alaskan Kodiak off. They're getting the autos off. Vault Breaker coming out to the side, but Alaskan Kodiak is going to proc the World Ender and try to survive, flying off the side.
Good Cyclone.
Woo, that was a very, very good Cyclone. I agree wholeheartedly. Drex being forced to flash away. Look in the backside into the mid lane. No attack. Getting the kill off. Getting Trinity down. Down goes Rek'Sai. Down goes Vi. And Alchemist not going to be able to survive. Dorado Gaming with a successful fight using the positioning and the Baron priority here. Amazing killer instinct from No Attack. Amazing World Ender to create that disruption. Well played fight coming out from Dorado Gaming here.
Yep. Beautiful fight coming out from Dorado. They're able to just kite out a lot of what Krabs was throwing at them. You know, the Weaver's Wall didn't pincer off anyone, so they had to call that one off. Then you had to escape from the cage. Okay, he had a great seismic shove into the worked earth there. There wasn't enough damage to follow up, as Alaskan Kodiak was threatening the backline. Weren't able to kill Alaskan Kodiak, and then everything just kind of fell apart there. Now your base is torn wide open. You're down almost 8,000 gold. Things are looking rough. You're formerly 5-1 Kog'Maw, now 5-3. You know that Palm Goat just has the largest target on their back right now. That's a Kog'Maw that's going to be threatening this Dorado side.
Yeah, and it looks like Terminus is coming out. That builds out of double recurve though, right? Terminus coming out here for the Kog'Maw. Going to be looking at the Terminus already completed for Kaisa. At this point, what does our late game situation look like as these teams are reaching all 3 items across the board?
Well, considering one of these teams has got 3 items first and the others all just sitting on 2 and maybe some components here, I might bring the one that actually has 3 items right now. Both teams were on 3 items though. Definitely a bit of a toss-up here. It depends. Can Palm Goat get the peel in these fights? Or will Palm Goat just eat a Leon ultimate in it to the Cyclone every time?
It seems to be the case. Like, it's such long range commit from the Solar Flare that anytime Frosthook lands it, it's basically just a death sentence to whoever's in the way.
Yeah.
Same with these baby cages. I feel like Blue Shell is using Denial of Vision very well to get into position to get these baby cages. Because they're getting trapped in very awkward ways on the side of the Krabs. As the fight comes down, Drek's going to be just killed in the jungle as we talk about it. Vision Denial forcing this easy fight here. No attack, dodging out of the Unraveled Earth. Able to get the Killer Instinct for the kill. Eddie Boy going to try to get the kill off of Alaskan Kodiak in the backside. Going to barely survive. Turret going down. Vigar is staying split. Vigar is not going for a teleport. Vigar doesn't even have teleport. He has Flash Ghost. And it looks like the Dorado Gaming team is going to follow them out, try to get Vigar access to this inhibitor. Tower goes down. Inhibitor's still going to be alive as Trinity manages to keep it alive. Take a look at those Nexus turrets, though. The minion wave is going to have to be retrieved, and Blue Shell trying to get priority over this inhibitor. Trinity, though, is going to have quite a lot of wave clear and keep it alive. So on the resets here, we have yet another series of picks for Dorado and complete control of this entire map right now.
Yeah, and funnily enough, it was only a singular pick there. Like, they only took away Mr. Drex. Mr. Drex right now, I mean, when you fall behind as Vi, your life is really miserable because you just get absolutely demolished and shredded in team fights. So it's like, you go in, hope that after you land the cease and desist, there's some follow-up, because you are definitely not coming out the tail end of that, and that's kind of what we saw there. Turns up in less than a minute. You have to deal with your base still wide open, and it's a rough one here for your Krabs, which feels really bad here, Dory, because it's like they had that nice relay in the mid game to bring it on back, put themselves in a bit of a lead themselves, and they just lost all their momentum around that first Baron. Blue Shell looking for a flank here, is on a ward, however.
And he's going to be forced away, but take a look. We have the Unraveled Earth, not available anymore. Drex being caught yet again. Drex just not looking great here, being caught so often. Eddie Boy going to go in for a 1v5 hero play, but it's not going to do anything. Out comes the Rek'Sai ultimate, but it is not going to manage, unfortunately. But Blue Shell going to be caught, not really going to have anything happen here. Does get caught on the Unraveled Earth, but it will flash away. You have red buffs on the entire side of Dorado, so they're going to be healing up, keeping this wave alive. No attack, hitting isolated Q here. Trinity avoiding the Killer Instinct a little bit, but it's not going to be quite enough. Gets the cleanse off. Palm Goat not going to survive. He's going to take somebody away with the passive, though, as Alaskan Kodiak and Co. finish off the game. Dracos looking huge. Blue Shell looking huge. And these guys are headed into a game 2.
Yep. We're a little worried for them because they lost a lot of momentum going into that mid game here, Corey. However, all it takes was that one turnaround on the Baron, and they smashed this game wide open for themselves, putting themselves up 1-0 in this series. Was a little rocky in the mid game, though. Do have some concerns, but if they're able to have a strong early game like they did last time, and then just not have some slip ups and give up some picks in the mid game, They could just be looking at a smooth sailing 2-0 here.
Yeah, and that was definitely superior map play, superior play around the river, and like siphoning off these choke points, making it so that they can't access parts of the map. And as you can see here, unfortunately, that Vi just falling off a cliff because they were not able to establish control after winning those couple of fights that equalized the goal.
Yeah, it all started with that level 1 where, I mean, they just, Mr. Drex did not have a good time. Instantly down 0-1, you get 3 buffed. Not able to make too much happen. Yes, you're able to get that 1-for-1 in the bot lane after a really long wait on that dive. But this Vi just had such a bad time, and Dorado's just making sure that the enemy jungler did not really get to play League of Legends here for the most part.
That's absolutely right. Now, we're taking a look at the team switching red and blue. We're going to have blue side coming out for Dorado. They have to first pick, they have to blind. You have guaranteed R5 for the side of the crabs. What do you see them doing and adapting in draft in order to be more successful in this game too?
Well, first off, definitely I feel like wording the jungle. That's one thing they could do. Of course, I don't think that same trick's going to work twice here, but that is one thing I do want to see. Other than that, though, I feel like the draft coming out here from Crabs was honestly fine. Like, top was more or less neutral. You're able to get first turret there after the Aatrox had a TP. Mid lane was about even. It's just really, I feel like that jungle spilled over, and it was really also just that Baron play there that flipped this game on over. Other than that, though, I mean, I was honestly fine with Crab's comp here.
All right. So we don't want to. So we don't think it's necessarily a comp issue. We think it's more of like an early gameplay issue, that early game falling apart. And even though they stabilized in mid game, I guess what positives can we take away from their game plan that we want to see them continue and maybe press a little harder on in order to maybe turn game 2 around?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they did a good job in the bot lane of tempering the Leona there. The Kog'Maw able to outrange the Kai'Sa without the killer instinct. Keep that Kog'Maw protected though if you are going to go for one of these comps. And then also, like, I mean, I also really just feel like this game really just fell apart at that one first Baron play where they tried to do the cross map there, but they gave up Baron, they gave up like 4 kills, and then they gave up their base.
All right. So maybe being a little more calculated with their play choices there in the mid game. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and head to an intermission. We're going to be seeing these teams hitting the rift again. So don't go away for too long. We will be right back. Hey there, everybody. How's it going? Dory K back again with Go Farino, and we've swapped sides going right into the draft. It looks like the bans are going to stay the same. Go. Do we see anything changing here from either team?
Um, we'll have to see. Maybe because the sides are swapped, we'll see one ban here from Crab's Radiant. Nope. All right. Exact same
Nope.
bans. I was gonna say maybe there's one ban they take away there. They B1 the Rek'Sai top last game. Maybe that take that away, but staying strong with their bans here. We'll see what Dorado Gaming want to prioritize here. The Wukong did work out pretty well last game for Drexel. Interesting though to prioritize the Wukong here.
I have been hearing from some friends in this ELO community that they think like Wukong and Jarvan are just like the absolute most stacked junglers on the patch. It looks like Elise, again, those early game priority junglers catch up. With the XP system being the way it is right now, people complaining about it like crazy. You could be as active on the map as you want and just kind of prioritize these like skirmishing junglers who just fight anywhere from levels 3 to 6. Just really powerful, great lockdown, great access to side lanes since mid lane is just such a snooze fest right now. So I totally get the Wukong priority, given how valuable of a champion it is. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Although, slightly hot take, I think catch-up XP is only like slightly overtuned right now. Like, if they bring it down a pinch, it'll be fine. But it's going to be locked in here. We saw that on the R1 last game. Of course, that was in Dorado Gaming Beta's hands. What is the prio here? Gragas, most likely going to the top lane.
Yeah,
He's a flex pick, though.
Honestly, yeah, that explosive cast might actually be the difference maker in this last game, as the Ezreal comes down immediately. I mean, being able to create the separation might have been the problem, especially since Wukong hates it so much. Like, hates the hates getting Cyclone displaced. You kind of want to just like sit in the fight as long as you can. But
yeah, and the Gragas also just very neutral top lane matchups. The nerfs did help a lot, of course, though, not being able to just spam Q on waves, but even then, like, it just forces you to get mana early, which constrains some builds. It's still workable. Dorado Gaming, though, locking the Zeri for themselves bot lane, interestingly enough, after seeing the Kai'Sa here, taking something that can outscale Kai'Sa here, and then Talia as well, so...
Now, with the reveals coming down, where do you think, like, with the mid lane reveal coming down, with Gragas being a neutral top lane matchup, and us presuming it may be going top, unless you actually see Gragas being used as a jungle pick into Wukong, since you see it. Again, both could be a flex, both players on both teams play both champions, so I guess it makes sense still. Do you see... I was going to ask if you see support priority going down to the R5 area, but we see Nautilus locked in, so that's a moot point. So I'm just going to throw that out the window. We're going to go into bans, see what support bans come out.
Because the Nautilus pairs so well with Kai'Sa, with proccing her passive, but then also you have the Dredge line plus the Depth Charge ultimate, and just having a point-and-click CC against Zeri is just so crucial, because catching this champion is just such a pain in the ass. But when you have a point-and-click button, you don't really have to worry as much here, and that's going to help you lock down the hyperscaling ADC that much more easily. Crab's Radiant right now pinching the support pool with that Braum. Interestingly enough, the Braum does pretty well against the Gragas plus Nautilus here.
And the Kassadin ban coming out from the side of Dorado Gaming Beta. I guess that makes sense. To Talia, that it has power to become unanswerable in the side lane. It could more than likely just be targeted ban. And we actually see the Aatrox ban coming out, trying to get rid of the comfort from the side of Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, take away the comfort. See what the pick then is into Gragas, because it is hard to hard counter Gragas in the top lane, just due to the fact like, hey, I hard counter you, and it's like Gragas is like, okay, I just don't have to interact with the lane here. You try and approach me, I body slam you, and I proc phase rush and run away at Mach 5. If not, we just play the farming game. I can just farm with barrels, and I'm still useful in team fights here. I can't feed over stuff. So I want to see, though, what Crab's Radiant want to prioritize here. I'm assuming the jungler. You already know that the Wukong's locked in.
Ooh, we're saving jungle for if we see the flex come out. Because, like, I guess there's technically a world where you see a flex Wukong top still. We see support hovers coming out, all sorts of pairings to go with the Zeri. You see Zeri, Lulu, Zeri, Yumi, Alistar, some Rel maybe, a little Rakan. just gonna hover a whole bunch of stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these pairings make sense, and I mean, Lulu coming out, I'm not super surprised to see
Mhm.
Lulu coming out. But
Yeah, the
Polymorph
Lulu
is
does
fun.
mean though you have a very squishy support because most teams are kind of used to having the full tank support like the Nautilus, Leona, or Alistar, who has a much easier time just face checking stuff when you have to go into the darkness late game and ward around Baron or Dragon. Lulu, of course, will outscale in terms of just pure team fight value because you're going to be hard buffing that Zeri. Does mean though your laning phase will take a bit of a hit here because neither one of these two wants to get hit by the hook, and you only have one polymorph available, so it can be a bit tricky to get out.
Ooh, we see that Udyr finishing it out. It looks like we're going to get the. I mean, Udyr Gragas is still, I guess, a flex in today's age, but that being said, low budget LCS. Thank you for the raid. Welcome everybody who's decided to stick with us. Go and I are here casting Game 2 of Dorado Gaming Beta, taking on the Crabs Radiant. Dorado Gaming Beta taking a dominating late game closure last game, Game 1. And this is a pivotal matchup between these teams. We're actually looking at potential for one team to gain momentum going into getting that top 3 going into playoffs. The other team might fall to the wayside if they're not able to stop the free fall here. So with that being said, we've got the comps locked in. We're going to start the in-game draft here. So Go and I are going to find out where exactly these champions, these Gragas and Udyr, are going to go. Even the Jace, I guess there's a world where I haven't seen mid lane Gragas in God knows how long. So it's probably top jungle.
Yeah.
And I'm just being hopeful, saying mid lane's funny, haha. Especially with a Talia on the board. Body slam does nothing. But what do you think about these compositions, like functionally speaking, like as a 5 champion unit? Which team makes the most sense?
Yeah, I mean, Dorado Gaming, definitely more front to back here. You have Zeri, who can just solo front to back here when paired with a Lulu. You also have the Talia as well. Not the most insane team fighting champion, but very solid in her own right, just not in like the upper echelons or anything. So Dorado Gaming Beta, they can just do front to back here and just shred through Crabs Radiant, because Crabs Radiant, not the highest range composition here, you know, unless this is the AP Kaisa, which is a possibility since you have the Jace mid. You aren't really going to be threatening from range here. All your champions kind of have to get in that low to mid range category to do a lot of their damage here. And that can be a bit of a pain if you're having to go through the Cyclone, if you're having to go through the Lulu Polymorph, having to go through the Weaver's Wall / Worked Earth. Might make things hard for the Crabs Radiant if they're not able to just hop onto the back line here.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Dorado Gaming has a pretty clear idea of what their identity is, and they're going to stick to it. This is kind of a situation, it feels like, of Crabs Radiant being forced to try to step outside of that front to back comfort zone, try to get a composition that can catch people off guard a little bit. I mean, in terms of the lane matchup between Jace and Talia, I'm not the most knowledgeable in the world, so it might be better explained by you.
I'm not the most knowledgeable either. The Jace definitely has kill threat here, but the thing is, if you use To the Skies, you are at the mercy of whether or not the earth has been worked. If there are no rocks on the ground, good. You just hop on top of that Talia. It's hard for her to land the earth shove on you, the E, after you go in. But if you're not able to do that and you just go right on top of the rocks, you're in for a world of hurt. So we'll have to see. It's definitely the Jace that has the kill threat in this lane, I feel, off of my limited knowledge myself. So yeah, that definitely seems to be the case. Like, it looks like they're trying to pivot themselves into favorable lane matchups, especially since you're seeing Cassante so late. Like, I'd venture a guess that if you're seeing Cassante into Gragas willingly, they're willing to handshake the tank v tank matchup and then use Cassante. So quick correction, it's actually Gragas jungle.
It looks like Gragas is going jungle. So yeah, so I figured they'd use R5 to kind of counter whatever. And the fact that they saw Cassante and immediately said Udyr makes sense. Udyr's kind of able to fit. From my understanding of how this Udyr top tech works right now, he's able to fist fight champions like Cassante and create ways to like hold lane priority. And that might just be the case for them to kind of dissipate these early game disadvantages, because the invades came off of like well-timed the invades were well timed around lane crashes from Dorado in game 1. So it looks like they're playing prevention more than they're playing like aggression here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely the case. It feels like. I mean, Zeri Lulu bot lane not going to be the most aggressive. Cassante can do some things early game, but into the Udyr might be a little bit tricky. Talia probably really wants the jungler help here to do anything in the mid lane. So maybe this time around, like you mentioned, Dracos might not have the hardest lane prio to go for those invades, to go for the early objectives, like we kind of saw last game. I mean, early objectives were a little bit back and forth, but it was more so the invades and ganks. And yeah, I'm curious how that works out here.
All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to have to go to another quick break for the spectator delay. We're going to go back and see if these teams can even it out 1-1, or if we're going to call it an early night and Dorado's going to take it away. See you soon. And we're back, everybody. We're in another 5-point go. Are we going to see another invade late?
I feel like that's a trick that only works once. I'm looking for any words. We see one word from Dorado Gaming in the spot lane Tribe Rush. We see
after the disrespect after the disrespect of that level 1 last game, I'm surprised to see these top laners still. I mean, I guess they had nothing to do with it. They had nothing to do with most of that game, to be completely honest. Like you said, that matchup was pretty even until, it kind of fell apart and Eddie
Yeah.
Boy just had to watch the world burn. I feel like Rek'Sai and Vi lose a lot of their value if they can't move forward.
Yeah. Pretty neutral up top lane. We'll see if it's different in this game. Eddie Boy has the Doran's Ring here. Unsurprising. Typically, it's the kind of AP bruiser Udyr top. Already has 1 point in the Wingborn Storm, aka Old Phoenix stance. It's weird. I still call them the stances. This just feels natural after so many years.
Honestly,
Eddie Boy to
dropping
do
that
the
knowledge.
fabled double R. We see this single Wingborn stance.
And yeah, that's honestly being able to spam it is huge. And just look at this denial. Getting the Wingborn stance just half HP at level 1 is crazy.
Hell?
Yeah, as the wave gets stacked. I mean, we can only presume what this means for the lane, but Cassante not really going to be able to get grass procs if he can't walk up to Udyr.
Yeah. And both junglers started topside here. So it's not like there's going to be any immediate help here unless we see the level 3 gank, which is definitely a possibility. It's not something you really see anymore nowadays. Usually it's going to be like the 4 camp into gank, where you take the buff, and like wolves or raptors buff, and then usually grump, I think. Or wolves. Actually, it's wolves, yeah. And then you gank, but things should be a little calm for now. Funnily enough, though, Drex did actually path towards top here.
And Udyr doing the age-old proxy with your Phoenix stance situation. Can we just like have a caster's agreement right now to just call the Udyr stances his old stances?
I'm just looking at this blue buff right now.
Oh, me too. Yeah, definitely. As the invade comes out from Drakos, yet again, Blue Shell using priority to get this. We actually have it cooling down. Drex gets the flash, but unfortunately, the invade's going to come down and Drakos getting the first blood. Actually, for the Zeri, no attack, getting double buffs going back into lane. And I would be so tilted if I were Drex right now. Watching Trinity and Palmgoat lose priority just in time for that blue invade was brilliantly played from Dorado.
I thought it was a little jobber there after the early smite and they just have to leave. But the collapse coming out from the bot lane here, able to secure Dorado the first blood yet again this game. Off to a good start. One thing we didn't see in that play, though, was Eddie Boy actually did some proxy farming top here and got an early back off as the Udyr. So already coming back to lane with a bit of a CS lead and the tier. Should just be able to spam the Phoenix/Wingborn stance.
You're absolutely correct. The actual, the dash into the pushback to get a tower shot, though. Eddie Boy being forced to go back and just sustain it up a little bit. Gonna have access to what used to be turtle stance. And is still kind of a turtle. He still says turtle when he does it, so we're gonna keep it turtle stance this time. We'll forego Ram. We'll go with Ram. Ram stance can be the one that's no longer a bear. But
yeah, because I think the Ram stance is based off of...
What is it based off?
Drex?
Well, you can't really talk about it because of the constant action coming down, the worked ground coming out, and the Trinity trying to get the return kill but runs out of mana. Isn't going to be able to sustain it up with the passive there, and he's going to be forced to let Blue Shell walk away. This entire series, Blue Shell has just been living with a sliver of HP, and I would personally be the absolute most tilted right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'd also just be tilted in general if I'm Mr. Drex. Like, you're already 0-2. You technically didn't get 3 buffed here. We can see Darakus bot side is still available here. They only got the Raptors into that blue buff. Darakus is going to be taking a lot of pain here.
Yeah, and the fight is going to restart here. Drakos, though, is going to be waiting here. Drex being forced away by Talia, having access to the Q. Work ground into the seismic shove. Going to try to separate Eddie Boy, but it looks like Cryo's going to be in favor of the Crab. So they are able to get a little bit of a trade back here, only getting 2 out of the 3 grubs, and that seems to be the play. Dorado is not too eager to take all the grubs. They just want to deny at least 1 or 2 per session.
Yeah. That's perfectly fine here. Although it could be an issue in the top lane if Eddie Boy is able to keep the push up. Right now, definitely low on mana. Gonna be having to hope that the regen from this Doran's Ring will be enough so that they can keep stacking tier. Once you stack the tier, like there's definitely no mana issues.
Yeah, we see the R's coming down for both. It is advantageous for the Cassante. He's pretty strong here, has the all-out, has wave crashing, but we don't know the location of Drex. Are we going to see the dive or are we not? Probably not, but a play-by-play can only hope.
Also, funnily enough, second rotation of buffs are about to spawn and Dorado still hasn't taken their OG red. I mean, that's the type of jungling I like to do where I don't really gank all that much. I just kind of make the enemy jungler's life a living hell because they outfarm them and steal their camps.
Take a look at what Trinity's actually able to do here. Trinity grabbed Blue Shell's wave and kind of held the minions. So it looks like there's... Well, I was going to say there was going to be a
lane
stack
coming through.
Yeah, we see the ghost coming down, Alaskan Kodiak going for the dash, but the flash coming out from Trinity to survive here. Unfortunate, but managing to get that flash out is going to make it really easy to land Seismic Shove into Wukong Cyclone at level 6 here with
like
Wukong
Kodiak
rapidly
has
approaching
no
it.
TP. And his half health going back to this top lane.
Yeah, and Udyr getting the proxy off here. Definitely benefits Udyr here, and this is looking like a huge lead for Eddie Boy this game. Getting the crash off, managing to proxy, and get all of that HP taken away from Kodiak.
Do it, Eddie Boy. You know you want... Oh, I think Eddie Boy's taking the blue. Eddie Boy's not taking the blue.
He was thinking about it, though. He was really thinking about it.
Okay, wave is up, so probably prioritize that. But stealing the enemy jungler buff, that's something I always tell my laners to do.
Yeah, just make it hell for him.
I mean, it's objectively funny.
It is hilarious. As we actually see the ward coming up for Eddie Boy as well, as long as it's not a spectator bug, I think the cooldown's almost over. The fight gonna come down, and Kodiak... Ooh, good timing on the ram. Nice. Dodging that CC.
Double ram. You gotta press up voice for the unstoppable. Yeah, things have calmed down a little bit here. 2-0, about 700 to 800 gold in favor of Dorado right now. See if they're able to expand this lead, because kind of similar to what they had last game, but we also saw what happened mid-game last time around, and this time we see Eddie Boy is absolutely smashing this top side, has that big CS lead, has the plate lead as well. Just not letting Alaskan Kodiak do anything here.
Absolutely. And we actually see the cooldown on these grubs resetting. Are we going to see supports reset for this? Does it make sense for either of these lanes to prioritize the reset?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm jungle, I always tell my support when we're in call. Like, it's gotten to the point where I say, hey, grub is up, and my support just goes, say no more. They back, just walk up and help me take grubs. That's a beautiful thing.
It actually looks like Lulu canceled. Nautilus is actually channeling their base right now.
Okay. Could be looking path up towards the grubbies. Wouldn't be there in time. You only have the tier 2 boots, no mobies, and grubs are up in 10. It's not like you'll be too late to the party, and you have some decent control over here. You got the one ward in the enemy jungle right now that would spot Draco's coming if they come through that top side. 2 wards now, so he'll spot both of Draco's main ways of getting in, unless there's a blast cone.
Oh, and they did. I didn't actually see if the vision was denied, but they're not immediately
Blue
walking
shell.
over.
There
Keep
should
an
be a
eye
kill.
out on the mid lane, though. The Talia is going to get taken down off to the side. They're going to trade it for one grub. Flash coming out to get Draco CC'd, but it's not going to do a whole lot of anything. Using the support is going to make this a 4 grub game unless something crazy happens. And that's going to be an advantage for the Crabs, but keep in mind, Dorado started off even. This is looking to be a very similar picture to game 1, with the Crabs evening things out going into that 10-minute mark. Let's see if they can maintain and keep the game even, flex the advantages they've created, or if it's just going to turn into another absolute snowball for fist fighting for these Dorado players at 15.
Oh, Yeah, this is kind of how this matchup seems to be going right now. Does suck though for Dorado, because you had to give up your mid lane there to grab one crab just to deny the 5-stack here. Denying the 5-stack, definitely handy, but 4 grubs still plenty enough to just kind of poke through the turrets. Be able to get enough auto attacks on in. We'll see. It's gonna have a bit of calm on the map for now in terms of Drax. It's got 2.5 minutes until both the Herald and Dragon spawn here. So it's just gonna be the buffs we're fighting over, just some river control we're fighting over. Maybe some ganks come out. Other than that though, don't expect anything too huge.
We actually see Drax trying to get his own red again, but not going to be able to do it. Draco's getting forced into... Actually, no. Draco's wants to take this invade. The collapse coming down. The return, though. See the seismic shove off to the side.
Crash.
Frostbolt going to use that wild growth to actually CC up 2 people. Alchemist being taken down. Double kill going down. No attack. Surviving in the backside. Lulu trying to survive here. Trinity focusing him out, but Blue Shell gonna turn it around. No attack. Going for the fight. Gonna survive because of the Lulu. And the shield coming down. Double kill for the Talia. Trinity being put on the back foot yet again. Has a slight CS advantage, but it doesn't matter with how fed this Talia is looking. You got shutdowns going down to Blue Shell and no attack now.
Oh yeah, at the start of that fight, I mean, Draco's falls pretty quickly there. Just gets CC locked, but able to absorb enough cooldowns. Enemy laners were low enough that Draco's just able to go down in the 1-for-4 there and tell their laners that don't say I didn't, juicy homies. So that is a huge dub on the bot side. All that comes out.
As we say that, the cheeky little solo kill for
that.
Alaskan Kodiak, and
yeah, did not expect that. Although the item advantage in favor of Alaskan Kodiak because they have the Rupert finished here. And Eddie Boy probably wanted to back there.
And this is looking so good for the Udyr for so long, but just one single misplay actually just gets him in a position where Kodiak can just fight him for free. And yeah, he has the boots advantage, but it looks like he is stacking Iceborne into plated steel caps this game. So boot advantage, still manages to die because he gets run down. Turns out Cassante can just grab you and stick to you. Don't need the boots.
Liking the builds right now. Palm Goat going for the AP Kaisa build here. You can tell because of the extra Sapphire Crystal in inventory. So very poke heavy. It is going to give him some range. Not the best consistent damage here, so there might be concerns of who the hell's going to kill Alaskan Kodiak come the game here. So hold that thought. Blue Shell in a lot of danger.
Yeah, Blue Shell getting caught out in the mid lane. Good combo between Trinity and Drax. This is definitely what we wanted to see from them from the start of this game, though. As we see a fist fight coming out in the bot lane, Palm Goat being forced away. Gonna try to just spam this W, but the cooldown's gonna be a little bit longer here. And Zeri Lulu looking pretty good.
Yeah, but that pick in the mid lane gonna give Prio over to the second dragon for the side of crabs. They're gonna be happy. Stop the dragon stacking here, at least for now. Get a bit of juice under the tank as well. Gonna be happy to have a few extra stats here and there.
And in the meantime, we did see first tower go down for the Udyr, so top lane has the ability to roam a little bit with this minion advantage. They are the same level. Minions are going to be about the same. The average level is exactly the same, so even lane states for these teams, and despite the kill score being a little bit different because of that first tower, the gold lead is not that massive. But let's take a look and talk about where those gold leads are. Ooh, as the fight comes down bot, actually. It looks like gank coming out from Mr. Drex, going to be able to finish it off. Palm Goat getting the return kill here in the bot side in exchange for the Rift Herald in the top side.
Yep. Well, no attack. Very fed as this area. It is still Frosthook as this Lulu. Very easy to catch out. They're both on that ward. Single dredge line into a body slam. More than enough to finish off Lulu.
Now, no attack, just spamming. It's just saying, no, you cannot have my shutdown. You cannot have my shutdown. I will sacrifice support. This is definitely beneficial for them if they can utilize this Rift Herald as best they can. But we have over the wall. Down comes the Cyclone. Blue Shell going to try to come out here. Going to get the second proc of Cyclone just in time. And Blue Shell going to prevent him from using the body slam to escape by throwing
buff.
the...
Yes.
And Dorado. Drex, man. Drex has been having a hell of a time in his red side quadrant this entire series so far.
Yeah.
Poor jungler, man. It's like, please help me. It's not even entirely his fault. It's just kind of his fault.
Incoming topside here doesn't necessarily have to be successful. Gank, you have the Rift Herald. Never mind, as you said, that Dorado does walk away. The blade has died. And yeah, I mean, still trying to finish their smite here, Drex. It is the full AP Gragas that is kind of expected from the jungle, but sitting on just Lich Bane. Oh, what that thought? We got action across the map. Charge line could land in the topside here. Do you have the damage?
We do have it coming down, but unfortunately, All Out going to pull him over the wall. Alchemist being forced to flash away. Durakos getting onto Alchemist. Not going to stick to him, though. Alaskan Kodiak popping the Ghost, and it's not really going to do anything here. Going to be forced to walk away and force the Nautilus splash out. Top gank for Nautilus not working out so well. What are our options if we're the crabs this time?
Honestly, let's try and make more of these picks happen. You have Nautilus. We've seen Drex be able to get some good picks. Blue Shell.
Ooh, good dodge, Palm Goat. Are you going to survive? Manages to dodge the Q. Doesn't dodge enough Qs, though. Wild Growth going to come out. We have both ultimates down for the bot side, but we have complete priority, complete control. It's a 4v2, 4v3 now. And red side having priority in the top lane is going to mean that the Jace is forced away. And with both teleports available, we see Rift Herald coming down. Neither teleport is probably going to be used here. We're probably just going to see another tower go down, and that's a big lead for Dorado here.
Yeah, won't be able to get the second crash by the looks of it. However, throwing out the enemy jungle, Drex was on a ward, gets Seismic shoved. Not full AP Gragas. Tankiness there. Very easy to finish off.
Tankiness is non-existent in this scenario now. I was going to say, if hopefully we have a moment of downtime here. We got a little bit over a 2,000 gold lead for Dorado. Same kind of thing is happening as before. This jungler is just getting absolutely abused for not being able to protect his own jungle. And we're at the point where surely this doesn't result in kill. So the gold lead is not that big, but it feels absolutely massive. It feels like Dorado is in complete control of this game. Why does it feel like that to me? And should it feel like that?
I mean, a lot of it is like Drex just isn't really getting to play a lot. Definitely has gotten some ganks off, especially in the mid lane. Like we saw, did have that one gank at the bot, but other than that, Durako's just making sure like, hey, your jungle is my jungle. I'm still the Wukong here. I'm able to get the Cyclone off. It's top lane looking for play.
Yeah, unfortunately, Eddie Boy looks to be getting run down now. Gonna force himself to use the Ghost here. But he's actually gonna take the fist fight. He thinks he can 1v2 here. Goes for the turtle stance, switches into Phoenix. Kodiak being forced to walk away. Wukong is like, nah, dude, I don't really want to take this. And Eddie Boy just says, no, fist fight me, fist fight me. Come on, both of you fist fight me so I can get control of this Drake for my team. Unfortunately, the rest of my team is losing across the map, but me, I'm going to be as annoying as possible and try to draw multiple people up here at the very least. Oh my god, he's taking no damage. He's using no mana. Look at his mana bar. He's spamming spells and it doesn't matter.
Yep, I mean, because I checked Eddie Boy's armor in that play after they kind of started falling back. It's like 160 armor on this Udyr. You're not getting through that in any like meaningful amount of time there. Dragon was coming up in a minute, so might as well just force out the Ghost and go to the opposite side of the map here. I was kind of concerned for Eddie Boy though. Typically you see the Leandries on the top lane Udyr to have like, you know, just a way to get through these tanks, but having to rely just on base damages right now. Doing just fine. It's not like Eddie Boy really has kill threat against Alaskan Kodiak, but does technically out-trade. Does out-push. That's not a technically. And will just be kind of a thorn in the side of Dorado here for the rest of the game. Of course, though, they do lose Dragon on the flip side. They are still down about 3k gold, so
Crabs will have to make something happen here, get some kills on their mid and ADC, hopefully, so they can actually have some threat here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Zeri's build looks to be headed towards a Bloodthirster on top of the formerly double. It's I was gonna say formerly double Zeal. That was a long time ago. On top of the double attack speed items. Pretty strong looking Zeri here. Got a huge shutdown, decent sized shutdown for Talia as she works on what I can only presume is a death cap, and we're looking like we're pretty solidly in control if we're Dorado, but at the same time, we do need to be concerned about how many bodies we need to send to this food here. Hopefully not too many. Without that Leandries, how do you feel about their ability to actually utilize the Udyr?
Yeah,
actually, it looks like we have a fight coming down. Flash coming down, blue shell. Gonna actually survive for just a moment.
Has the Weaver's Wall available now?
Yeah, Weaver's Wall going to be used across the map. Nautilus not going to be able to do anything about it. And Frosthook says, I will protect you. No attack. Popping the ultimate. Going to flash right onto Mr. Drex. Gets the W off. And is going to run him down. Like a dog. Doggo Gaming saying no. Duraco's maybe looking to try to cancel any bases that were in there with Cyclone, I guess. I guess that makes sense. But,
I need to
low enough cooldown, he'll be alright.
Stream here. Okay, I didn't see it on stream either. So, I'm guessing Durakos just got vision of Trinity there in the very last half second of that teleport. Wasn't able to cancel it. Because otherwise, you know, probably would have popped the Cyclone earlier when they saw that TP being channeled.
And we're at a point where, like, what does this have to say about these teams, like, in the perspective of the entire league? Like, does Dorado look like a 3-2 team? Do they look like a team that could potentially be more dominant in the league? And are we seeing flashes of brilliance from Crab to the point that, like, they could definitely still see themselves winning games in the future here?
I mean, Krebs definitely are putting up a fight here. Eddie Boy, especially in the top lane this game, we saw it last game. You know, they're able to kind of bring it back, and it isn't like doomed when you look at the raw gold on the scoreboard right now. Like, they're only down 3.5 KH, give or take a few minions being killed here and there. It just feels like, in terms of like who's controlling the map, who's running the map, it definitely feels like Dorado right now. And once again, I feel like it's just Duraco's running the jungle right now. You can see Drex just already 1-6 as this Gragas. Really can't do too much. Thankfully, if you're behind his Gragas, it's much more forgiving than by, like, okay, you can just throw barrel from range and get a back line.
Now, so it definitely feels like Drex is unfortunately just the one on who has to look bad on paper as like an end result of maybe like a team-wide problem, you think?
Oh, Weaver's Wall.
Ooh, that actually blocked the Q and forced Alchemist to flash there. That's unlucky. And the AP Kai'Sa's doing a lot of damage if the only person you hit is Lulu.
Yeah. Thing is, these AP Kai'Sas won't have the best tank shredding power. Line.
Yeah, Palm Goat gonna try to get some zone to fight here, but we're actually just gonna see Alaskan Kodiak just survive everything. This poke comp is just not looking too hot right now. Kai'Sa, man, Kai'Sa's W just hits Alaskan Kodiak and he just does not care. He thinks a mosquito bit him. Eddie Boy trying to just zone Frosthook off here, but unfortunately Dorado is able to walk into everything. The lanes are gonna be matched up. We've got a actual like vertical line of scrimmage being established now. As the flash comes out, Duraco's actually cancels the first Cyclone, has to use the second Cyclone again. And Unstoppable coming out. Look at the fight going on with Alchemist here. Alchemist going to be shredded down. Palm Goat trying to survive as long as he can, but Trinity going to go down as well. Unstoppable, no attack, and that's going to be absolute mid-game control for Dorado again. 5,000 gold lead as they head over to the Dragon to get us onto that Dragon 3 and put us at soul point.
Yeah, it's going to have to come down to these Praise Seekers coming on out. Still getting the resets here. Drex is alive, but I don't think Drex gets in the pit here to contest the Clown Dragon falling on down. And you can see, like, Pongo, like, the poke has come online. Speak of the devil.
Price
Yeah.
Seeker!
Yeah, that's why I love AP Kaisa. Like, yes, please. I love the riveting gameplay of W, W, W. It's
And
just
what's
so heckin'
hilarious
fun
is
to watch. Very
you know for a
wholesome
fact that
shonen.
everyone in that Dorado call is just laughing their asses off right now about that.
Yeah.
They opted to not even bother. They're just like, you know what? It's gonna be really funny if we just let you get hit by this.
They also didn't have a vision of that.
They did only have just like a second to react, but I'm gonna
Like,
live
what-
in my headcanon that says that they let him die.
That was true. It would be funny if they knew. Either way, though, it's still in the hands of Dorado Gaming by a decent amount here. It's not a landslide lead, but they do have Soul Point. They have Prio over most of the map here. 5-0 Zeri sitting on 3 items and a pickaxe as well. Of course, it was the shield bow third here, so that isn't the highest possible DPS. One of the downfalls of the current meta build on a lot of crit ADCs where you go the Shiv into another either Noon Quiver or Zeal item is that you don't have the highest amount of raw AD, and you are delaying your purchase of Infinity Edge or armor penetration or just survivability here.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be one trade-off here. So maybe with no attack having to get the shield bow third here, it means that the Zeri won't do as much damage. And maybe with this 3-item Udyr you have, that Thought Cyclone should be coming out
comes
here.
the Cyclone into the Weaver's Wall. They're going to go ahead and trap him in. Killing spree going down. Immediate death, but the explosive cask is not going to get anything done here. Second Cyclone coming down. Blue Shell on a double kill here. And they're just going to immediately transition this into Baron. This is starting to look like a textbook case of we're closing the game again for Dorado. But can Drex and Trinity get enough poke off to get them off this Baron? Weaver's Wall not available, but the work ground absolutely is. And out comes the Seismic Shove to completely remove Drex from the game again.
There's
Baron.
a small chance that Shock gave Shock last season. But yeah. 2 picks into Baron. Things are looking pretty dire.
And yet again, it seems like Eddie Boy is just unfortunately being forced to watch his team just fall apart.
Yeah. I mean,
guess he
because
could
you
be a
have
little
this
more
poke
raw.
composition, but like, if you walk up and you don't have wards on the flank, Draerkos just pops the clone, walks on in with invisibility, Nimbus strikes on you, Cyclone, and then next thing you know, it's just kind of all joke. Like, at this point, where it's like, okay, we're kind of like a screen and a half away, we're pressing our buttons a lot, things are fine. Like, you see Blue Shell? That's a decent amount of poke. Eddie Boy. It's
Eddie
in a
Boy using the second proc of Ram stance to keep Alaskan Kodiak from CCing him, but it's not going to matter because the Seismic Shove is going to reposition him and Killing Spree going down for Alaskan Kodiak here as they push with the Baron. Poke composition not going to be able to poke through this insanely massive front line from the side of Dorado Gaming here. They've got but 1 little vision ward, 2 little vision wards, kind of seeing the entrance to their own jungle, but at this point we're seeing a lot of plays reminiscent to Game 1.
Mm-hmm. Also, shout outs to Nameless Orc for the raid. Hi.
Hi,
6
Nameless.
members
Welcome
entering
back.
the chat. This is game number 2 of the series of Dorado Gaming versus Craps Radiant. Dorado Gaming did take game number 1. Take game number 2 right now. As you're kind of mentioning here, Dory, like, they're up a fat stack of gold. They're sitting on that soul point. They still have Baron buff here, so they can just further the lead. It's just hard for Crab's Radiant. Like, one of the downfalls of poke compositions is if you kind of fall behind and the enemy team gets Baron buff, like, it just sucks. You don't really have the time to set up the poke for these things because you're just constantly dealing with waves crashing into you, and you don't have enough time to just spam your points.
And unfortunately, we see the Crabs just not willing to take this turnaround. Drex just so desperately wants a flank, wants to displace somebody with that explosive cask, and try to just claw something back for the Crabs. But at a 10,000 gold deficit, with Baron knocking on their door, with 3 dragons and complete control over rotations here between the lanes, Drex looking for a play, gonna try to get an angle for that body slam explosive cask, but no attack, just constantly being protected. Frosthook's positioning here, keep an eye. He's gonna be able to just proc polymorph or wild growth, and there's nothing they can do about it here.
Yeah, and the shield bow on top of it as well. And now they also have the Infinity Edge. Draco's going on in, forces out the death charge, and has to flash on out.
And that's going to delay the inevitable here. Are they going to go for the fight on this inhibitor? They'd like to go for this inhibitor play to guarantee the next Baron that comes up in 2.5 minutes, but now it just looks like they're able to back off and get this sole point. Drex just being bullied off of the wave here, and Drex walking up for some reason. He can't just give away the dragon. Clown Dragon, very...
Yeah, it's just going to be hard. They're having to walk through all this vision.
As my screen freezes, they're going to back off into the dragon pit. There we go. I got it back. Yeah. They're going to be forced to walk into vision. They can't see anything. They're going in blind here. Pomgoat trying to land as many W's as she absolutely can, but Alaskan Kodiak just tanking them all up. No attack and Frosthook, look at him there. Trinity being forced off by the Weaver's Wall, and this counter engage going in Alaskan Kodiak, tanking up there as long as he can. Cyclone being used the front to back. Pomgoat killing Frosthook off to the side though. We've got dominating no attack coming out though. 1-for-1, double kill for the Kaisa. And they're being forced into a choke point. Eddie Boy going forward, flash hook going down, but the death charge is going to land onto no attack. Killer instinct in the backline, but it doesn't matter because the Talia is just too strong. They use the seismic shove to get Pomgoat out of the fight. Pomgoat going to land a W to finish it off in the back. Pomgoat has just enough mana for one more, but can't aim it. Blue Shell trying to cut it away, but Eddie Boy is going to be able to just run him down, and that's going to be an ace and a turnaround for the Crabs, keeping them in the game.
Yeah, that's kind of what you want there. That entire fight, Pomgoat just able to press W off cooldown, able to pop those plasma procs. They're based in absolute tatters though. We see Eddie Boy's pathing towards this dragon to deny the soul point. Trinity can TP in here, is going to pop that immediately on spawn. That's what I like to see. You're gonna deny the soul here for at least another 5 minutes. Allegedly. The Dragos is back up. Walking towards this dragon, still got 5k, 4k, 3k. Okay, they did.
Yeah, no, they're just gonna get, and that's gonna be them slowing down the dragon stacking. But now we talk about the scenario. We're in the scenario where item builds are starting to become more and more full. We've got 3 items, maybe finally for Drex eventually. He's that full AP Gragas again. He has a lot of burst potential, but he's pretty frail. Let's break down how this fight happened. Hopefully another fight doesn't break down. Go. Let's break down what exactly happened. How was that so successful for the Crabs?
I mean, they're just able to kind of isolate some of the members there. And then also, like, the big thing was the fact that Pomgoat was able to just rain down terror, get so many plasma procs here as this Kaisa. Like, you can see now, nearly full build. Has an extra needlessly large rod in their inventory, has the Crypto Bloom. Like, these Praise Seekers add up, but this Baron's getting shredded.
Yeah, the teleport comes down. It looks like Eddie Boy is going to be in the pit. Drex being first down immediately. Blue team secures the Baron Nashor, and Eddie Boy going to die here. They're getting a little bit too excited. The Crabs are going to go down, 2 players down, and Baron secured for Dorado Gaming. The one little scare is not going to be enough as teleport comes down. It looks like they're going to go for the finish here. Can Pomgoat and Co. actually defend the base? They have 1 Nexus turret alive. It's at half HP. Death charge coming down onto the Blue Shell, but it's not going to do anything. He's still full HP, getting hit by the seismic shove. Alchemist being forced off to the side. He's going to go down to Blue Shell as he gets hooked at the end, but it's going to be the end of the game. Unfortunately, Alchemist not able to stop him at all.
Yeah, and Crabs Radiant, I mean, around that 5th dragon fight, that was so good of them. They're able to get the 5 for 3 there. Grab the dragon, stop the stacking, but the fact is their base still in tatters. They can't really contest that Baron. And you just lose 2 members in that pit. It's over from that point.
Yeah, and they definitely got excited for making that play transitioning into Dragon, but because of the timer, the death timer's not being quite enough, they don't get the reset and they don't get to Baron on time. And unfortunately, just trying to 50-50 that fight, they are still at a deficit. They thought they had the momentum, but it just wasn't quite enough, and it just honestly blew the game right up.
Yeah, there's two members in the pit. Instantly burst, like... Technically, that was a 50-50, but with how far behind Mr. Drex was as the Gragas, like, just dies before the Baron's even in smite range there.
Yeah, and he blew up, just absolutely just disintegrated. As our friend Bear and Shark, thank you, Riot, your client ever spaghetti today.
Oh no, that's their Riot ID.
Their Riot ID is Bear and Shark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's what the Twitch comment was. Who's Bojab?
Yeah. It messes with a
Bojab.
lot of things in Spectate. I know with a lot of like overlays too. When you fetch from the API, for example, like it just shows the Riot ID, which really throws a wrench in stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah.
But
Either way, that was 2-0.
like, yeah, absolutely. Very. Would you say clean 2-0? Do you think there's bright spots for the Crabs?
In that game 1, there definitely was some sore spots. In game 2, much more clean. The sore spots weren't as noticeable. You know, there's definitely some things like top lane was absolutely miserable. That was kind of a counter pick. But yeah, and there was that one main dragon fight. There were some peaks in the mid lane as well. Other than that, pretty decent for Dorado. And they're feeling happy, at least based off of that game 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this, like we were saying before, does have some pretty significant images of the potential playoff scenario here. Top 3 teams from each group do go on, as the Crabs Radiant next week actually go on to face Omega Gaming Pairing Knives. Let's try to say that 5 times fast. And Omega, spoilers, are in first right now in their division, in the Demacia division. So it does look like Crabs Radiant are facing an uphill battle, as Dorado Gaming actually leap over them in the standings to face off against the Goofy Goobers next week, who are
Like Goobers.
3-1 or 2-2. The website's not updated.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a little late because, like we mentioned, it said these teams had only played 3 series going into today, even though it's week 5.
There's like buys or something in Masters. Sorry for my lack of knowledge of the division, guys, but well, anyways, the momentum definitely looks to be in Dorado Gaming's favor going into the next couple weeks. We got 2 weeks left going to playoffs, top 3 teams. What do you think this does for the morale of the Crabs? And do you think this is what Dorado needs to give themselves that last push?
I don't know for the Crabs here, since it is the top 3 of every division, and I don't know like tiebreaker rules, because technically the Crabs can bring it back in these next 2 weeks, and in the season, because every team gets 1 bye week, so they can end the season 3-3. That can have some tiebreaker ramifications, but if they lose 1 more series, it should be basically done so. And like you said, it is an uphill battle for them. On the side of Dorado Gaming, I mean, definitely some good momentum, but it is kind of shaky momentum like we saw in that game number 1. So the big thing is they're going to have to clean things up.
Yeah, so I totally agree. I think they clean up these mid-game fights and have a more clear setup for them, and they don't get caught out by those weird scenarios where they think they're just cruising on to the end and just get separated in weird ways, which honestly is how the Prey Seekers managed to tear apart that fight, right?
Yep.
So yeah. With that being said, thank you so much for your time, Goferino, and thank you to Chippy as well. Wonderful producer as always, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it next week. How are we feeling this is going to shape up at the end of the season?
Wow. I have to see the other results from tonight to make a conclusive call, since I believe the games are still going on.
For sure. At the very least, we saw a Nameless hop in here. We've seen a few different places come in view. But yeah, keep an eye out on the rest of the division. Keep an eye out on the Blue Otter League stream as we come back tomorrow to see Emerald. And thank you, everybody, for watching. My name has been Dory. It's been Go. It's been Chippy. And we'll see you next week.